Hi everybody, IntuitiveEdge here. This is going to be a long video, I think. And I hope that you'll hang with me through this video. I've been kind of putting some dots together, and I really want to talk this out, and maybe I'll pull up some cards, but I want to really process with you here kind of what I've been getting and what I've been thinking is taking place on the earth and what we might be heading for. Now, I'm going to jump around a little bit because there's a lot of information I want to cover, but I'll try to tie it up. So please hang with me to the end of this video if you can. Okay. So the other day, I'll start here. About 3 or 4 days ago, I pulled up YouTube, and the first video out there was a video from the Looking Glass people. And it was about a 3-minute video, and they always kind of give out these kind of cryptic videos when they post, and then they take them down sometimes. So it popped up in my feed first thing, so I listened. And they shared a very disturbing apocalyptic event heading for humanity. And they described things that honestly sounded quite biblical. Things about people ending up with boils on their skin and getting very ill and dying and mass death and chaos. And the one thing they said on there was that when they looked in the looking glass, there was no other option, that this was what was going to happen. So I listened to that and I'm like, geez, Christ, that is a lot of heavy energy to just dump. And it honestly, it made me a little angry. I'm sitting there like, I did not come here to do all this spiritual work, to come so far in life, only to just have it all just come to nothing and to perish, basically. And that was just our lot in life as humans. We're just gonna die of this massive, it sounded like some sort of pandemic or something like that. And I'm like, no, that just isn't, I just couldn't fathom that nobody would survive this, because that's basically what they were saying. And that they were also saying that the elites were going to survive it because they took the antidote. And I'm like, okay, this just does not jive. And it ticked me off. Okay, just being honest. And I thought about it, and I really prayed about it, and I'm like, this just does not set with me, that there's no hope for us. There's just not setting with me. So about a day later, maybe it was the same day, later in the evening, I'm just processing this with a friend, and all of a sudden it was like, I wonder if that was one timeline that this looking glass was seeing. And that is what's going to take place for humanity on that timeline. Now, a lot of you, I'm sure, have been learning, listening. There's been so much talk in spiritual circles and everywhere, really, that I've been noticing, talking about the coming timeline shift and how basically humanity is, we're getting ready to split. And it's like there's going to be this shift where the people who are in the vibrations of love, compassion, wanting to help and being of service, and those who are stuck in fear, especially the fear vibration. And I think I did in my last month ahead, my most recent video, I talked a lot about the need to stay out of fear. We have to stay out of those lower vibrations through this time. It's going to be a chaotic time, and I do think that's coming, where things are really going to heat up, be a lot crazy, and we have to just breathe through it, focus on gratitude, focus on love, focus on we're going to get through this. And I thought about this when I was talking with my friend about this video that upset me from the Looking Glass people, because I'm thinking that's got to be one timeline. That's got to be where they're focused, and they're not focused on this other timeline, because I do not believe that the evil people were going to win, and that's what they were describing, that the dark was going to win. And I'm like, that is not happening with me. It's not happening with a lot of people I know. And I know that there are some that are stuck in fear. And again, sorry, I'm going to jump around a lot, so bear with me. I was on TikTok the other day, and there was a woman, I shared it on my Telegram page, for those of you that follow me there. And she had such good energy, but this gal, she was I think a tarot person, psychic person, I don't know, but she was sharing how we are going to be having to really hold the line. So basically, she was sharing what she was getting intuitively is that there's going to be a split coming very, very soon, and that those that do not have a high enough vibration to sustain those positive energies are going to be splitting into the two different realities. And that the lower vibration reality is not a good timeline to be on. So, just to reiterate here, anybody listening to my voice, do whatever you can to stay in the vibration of love and peace and joy if you can. Find gratitude in whatever circumstance you're in, even if it's a challenging one. And we know that there's a lot of people going through challenging situation in the United States, over in North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia. People have really gone through it. But as I was on TikTok, because there's so much more information coming out there on TikTok than anywhere else. You will learn a lot of what's really happening on the ground there. It's interesting to see the different people's responses. Some people who are just like, I want to be of service. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to help. And they are helping. And people who are joyful, even in the midst of this, because they are helping and they're making a difference. That guy who went up in the helicopter, he literally saved a baby. They found something like an 11-month-old or day-old, I don't remember which, but an infant that they were able to save, and an elderly woman. And that gave him so much joy. He's like, and he was stressed, you could tell, because he's like, there's so many more people to save. But just seeing that is the 5D vibration. That is what's going to pull him through. Selfless giving of yourself, loving others, and not caring about yourself, but caring about others. Those are the vibrations that we have to hang on to, especially in the coming days. The other thing too is to take care of yourself, to eat healthy, stay off of alcohol if you can. That's probably a wise thing. I'm not trying to judge or tell anybody what to do, but just mind your own vibration. Do what helps your body, because there's a lot of energies coming in. We have 2 X-class solar flares that are about to hit Earth, and who knows how that is going to disrupt our bodies. It might disrupt people's sleep. It might cause jitters or anxiety. So anything you can do to calm yourself, take a salt bath, eat healthy foods, drink lots of purified water, anything you can do, and stay in gratitude and know that we're going to get through this, okay? Especially if we And you listening to me can move on to that positive timeline. This is going to be critical coming up. So where I want to kind of bounce around a little bit and tie this in is the Bible. Now, I grew up in a mainline Christian home. My spiritual awakening that happened kind of starting in my 20s, especially in my 30s, really kind of pulled me into a new understanding. And I had to let a lot of what I had been taught all my life, I had to kind of let a lot of it go. And it wasn't so much that what I was taught was bad or wrong. It was just I had to embrace a new way of looking at God, at my life, at this reality. And that has been ongoing, just readapting and reevaluating my belief system. So, but I credit that Christian upbringing with giving me a lot of interesting things to ponder coming into this new phase in life. There's been a lot that it gave me a solid foundation on which to work with. And some of that, again, with the Christian upbringing, and maybe this will relate to some of you, I'll try not to belabor this too much for those who didn't have a Christian upbringing, but there was a lot of talk about the rapture in Christian circles and the tribulation and all of what we were going to be going through in the end times and the book of Revelation and all of that. And there is things in the book of Revelation, and the book of Revelation was a series of apocalyptic visions that John had. And anyway, I don't need to go into all that here. You go read a Bible if you want to go read it. It's pretty interesting, but I think there's a lot of truth in some of it, because it seems like we're kind of dancing around some of the things that Revelation talks about. Now, maybe I should say in terms of like the monetary system, going to, you can't buy or sell unless you have a stamp, some sort of mark on your hand, and very, like control over humanity. And Revelation is pretty apocalyptic and pretty awful. It does talk a lot about the boils on people's skin, and that people they basically want to die, and they would not be able to die. And that they would be dying, but people would be like wanting, like, just kill me now. I don't want to live through this kind of thing. And it made me think of that looking glass, where they saw the boils on people's skin that would start out small and then grow and then start bleeding, and then people would just start basically bleeding out. Really horrific. Like, that's terrible. I wonder if that is the apocalyptic timeline. There's also something in the Bible that is talked a lot, and that is the rapture. And this has been a hot button of debate in Christian circles, because there's so many disagreements on the interpretation of what the rapture is. So many people there's 7 years that has been prophesied of a period of tribulation. Pestilence, famine, war, Armageddon, all of this, and for a period of 7 years. This is I'm just talking general beliefs, okay? And there's a lot of thought about this rapture coming, where Jesus is supposed to come back to earth and rapture people that are saved, basically, are of God, are children of God. and have, professed Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm just going back with my Christian roots, but I'm going to make a point here, because I'm wondering if this rapture that's supposed to come, I'm wondering if this is the timeline shift and the timeline split that so many people are seeing across the globe. And we know that Jesus Christ coming back, what if that is the Christ consciousness that has been coming back into the earth, that has been helping people to elevate their vibration, to love their neighbor, to be selfless givers of themselves, and not just living for the lowercase self, but they want to do service to others versus service to just me. I'm just here to do my thing and screw everybody else kind of mentality. And I'm wondering if the Christ consciousness has returned to earth and is getting us prepared. There's also scriptures in the Bible that talk about in the twinkling of an eye that our bodies will be like changed. Like our physical will somehow adapt a new physicality that's going to be more of a light vibration. There's so many things in the Bible that I think could so easily be interpreted the way many psychics and seers and people are talking about today. The light vibration, even some of the channelers like Bashar and others, talking about this light quotient coming in. And I think it's going to affect our physical beingness. And I'm wondering if the rapture is actually this timeline shift. And it's getting ready to split. And if you are, one of the things that the woman that I told you about on TikTok, one of the things that she shared, and maybe it was another video of hers, but anyway, one way to know if you are on the timeline that will be splitting into the good, the beautiful 1,000 years of peace and the wonderful timeline, the new heaven and the new earth. One way to know if you're on that timeline is what's happening in your life right now. Is your life filled with chaos and drama and horrible things happening and challenges? Are you resisting all of what's happening in your life? Maybe, things happen. You lose your job. Maybe you lose your home. I mean, we've seen a lot of this happening for real in North Carolina, but even just in your life. Are you consumed with drama and horrible things, terrible things happening? Or are you just some people having a wonderful life right now? Things are going really well. In spite of challenges in the earth, their life is like, my life's not that bad. I'm doing okay. We're doing okay. And again, a lot of it's mindset. A lot of it is just finding the peace within yourself and staying in gratitude as much as possible. We can't always control what's happening in the world around us. We all go through stuff. We all go through challenges. And it's not to say that somebody that loses their job is on the wrong timeline. But how much are you resisting the changes that are happening? What is happening in your life that you can find gratitude in? These are I think what's going to be the defining piece that's going to be what separates us. Two people can experience the exact same challenge, and one person is in complete fear and despair and shame and guilt, and another person is like, you know what, I'm going to get through this. It's going to be okay. That is a mindset shift. And I'm wondering if this is what the timeline shift is about, and if this is what the rapture is really about. That it's not Jesus coming back and handpicking people that said a prayer when they were 8 years old to believe in Jesus, but maybe they don't live their life very nicely. Maybe they don't live a good life. Is that what is that rapture really? And what about all the people that are talking about raising your vibration? Maybe we need to raise our vibration by being in love, being in joy and gratitude as much as possible, so that when that light that comes on the clouds, okay, comes to earth and changes us into an even higher vibration, we have to be ready to hold that vibration, or we're not going to ascend. We're not going to get there. And then we will be left behind. Do you see what I'm saying? I think the allegory with the Christian doctrines, I think they're so easily explainable with what we're going through now and what we're seeing happen on the earth. So I know this is a really long video. I just wanted to connect with this because I'm seeing this parallel. It's like I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, is this timeline shift that we're about to go through, is this the rapture? And those who have held their vibrations high with love and joy and gratitude as much as possible, are they the ones that are going to have those be filled with light, and their bodies are going to be of the vibration enough to be able to handle it? They'll be able to handle that shift. Can you imagine in the biblical worldview, where the teachings have said that those that are going to ascend, basically, in the rapture, are going to be changed in the blink of an eye? But can you imagine if it's someone who is not a nice person, who doesn't hold vibrations of love and joy, but they're constantly in fear? That light quotient being able to sustain that might not be so easy. So this is a matter, I think, of, you don't have to worry if you are a loving person and you hold your vibration high. I think you're going to make it. You're going to be fine. We're going to get through this, even if things fall apart. And I think in the short term, we could see a lot of challenges coming up. But hang in there. If your life is falling apart, if you've just landed in jail and your wife left you and you're having a terrible time in life, or, you've lost your job and you're homeless and things are going just terrible, turn your focus around and let go of the fear, let go of the drama, let go of not wondering, what's going to happen next. Just relax, let go of that drama. You've made it this far, you're going to be fine. Don't pull yourself over to that negative timeline. You have to know within your own core that you're going to be okay. And rather than thinking about yourself, think about your neighbor. Look after your neighbors. Care about others. That's really all we have to do. Is be God in action, loving others, using our hands as God's hands. That's what we need to be doing. And let that other timeline go, because you don't want to be on it. You don't want to go down it. You want to be on the good timeline. You want to be on this, going into peace and joy and 1,000 years of peace, according to the prophets. Okay. I'm going to pull some cards. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back indoors. I had to pause the video for a little bit. I was going to delve into some cards, But I don't think so. I think I'm just going to continue this conversation and talk a little bit more. In terms of the biblical parallels that I see happening with this, with the rapture and the tribulation, biblical prophecy, and a lot of people, again, there's a lot of disagreement as to when the tribulation happens, when the rapture happens. Some people say that the rapture is going to happen at the beginning of the tribulation. Others say it'll happen at the end. Some say it'll be in the middle. Anyway, not getting into all of that per se. But what have we been through since 2017, roughly? We know what happened in 2020 with the plague that hit and all of the kind of other apocalyptic stuff. There's been some wars that have broken out. And humanity really went through it in 2020, didn't we? For like 3 years, 3.5. We really went through that. And now there's wars breaking out. And there was this apocalyptic flooding that just happened in North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and other places. Truly horrific. And this all seems to be coinciding with what many would call a tribulation. Has it not been a tribulation? This apocalyptic flooding that happened, would that not be a type of tribulation that people are going through? And my personal thoughts on it, and I don't know, I don't know if I'm right or not, but my thoughts are that we have been in the tribulation. We have been going through it. We've been living it. And it has been, I'd have to get back into the Bible parallels, because there's the book of Daniel too in the Old Testament has some parallels along with Matthew 24 and the book of Revelation with the Antichrist coming in, taking his place on the throne, the prince being displaced. Anyway, I kind of see some parallels there too with what happened in the 2020 election. So again, I don't know if that's a correct interpretation, but it kind of gives me food for thought. And I do think that we are on this tribulation trajectory right now. And 2024 would be the end of that 7 years. And I think that we are about to move on from there. And I think that it's going to happen in October. We'll see what happens. Now, I don't know if it's going to play out the way that the Christians have taught, that one man will be taken, another man will be left, 2 women will be at the mill, one taken, the other left, and we're just going to like feed it out of here, those that get raptured. Or if it's just going to be like things are normal, life moves on like normal, but suddenly on one timeline, things are getting really bad and falling into destruction and chaos and hell on earth. And the other one, things are getting better. There's some justice coming in the world. There's some peace coming on the earth, some peace deals being made. People are getting along. Maybe it's just that. And these 2 timelines that are marching along, all of a sudden they're like, well, it's decision point. It's decision time right now. October. Everybody's been talking about October being this really karmic, heavy decision time month, and I concur with that. October is our decision time. Which timeline do you want to be on? Do you want to go down the road of war and pestilence and destruction? Or do you want to go down the road of peace and prosperity and moving through it, getting through it? I don't know that it's going to be that people are just going to be zipped out of here, or if it's just going to be, we're just going to diverge in some quantum parallel timeline that looks just like the timeline we're on right now. Which one do you choose? That's the question that everybody should be asking themselves. What do I choose? Which one do I want? Do I want to be free and happy and move on in a beautiful way? That's where I'm going. You guys make your choice. Come with me. Come with the rest of us that want to have a better world. And leave that other icky, ugly timeline to what the looking glass people saw. That can be their timeline. I don't recommend anybody go there. There's still time. But you have to raise your own vibration. You cannot be stuck in fear. And reevaluate your belief system. There's nothing wrong with that. I did it. I had to. Because I had some things happen in my life that I couldn't reconcile anymore. What I was taught about God and what I needed to change in my beliefs. There had to be a change in my life. I couldn't live with the status quo. And so I made a change. And I'm still here. And I'm here reaching out to anyone who will listen to help shift as many people as you can. Loving people, holding people, being as positive as you can. Even in the face of scary things happening. Don't let the fear drag you down. And if you see things that scare the crap out of you, just let it go. Let it go. Let God handle it and move yourself into gratitude. You're here, you're alive. Let's do this thing. Let's get off of the ugly timeline. Stay on the good timeline because we're about to move. And one timeline is going to be golden. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be everything that people have wanted. Justice in the world, accountability, people loving one another, and the ending of all wars. Infinite prosperity. Some call it quantum financial system, whatever. But it's going to be available. However that plays out. I don't know exactly the details of it, okay? I just know that some people are saying there's going to be a new positive monetary system. I think the monetary system is going to change on both timelines, okay? The other one is going to be the mark of the beast. The other one is going to be you have to have this thing in your hand or your forehead, or you can't buy or sell or have anything. That's going to be the one where people die of boils. This timeline, we don't have to go through that. It's the rapture. I'm becoming convinced. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, especially if you have a Christian upbringing like I did. Maybe you have a thought on whether that's the rapture or not. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think I'm going to leave that here. I know this has been long. Thank you for hanging with me. I do think that there's a lot of work to be done, and I think that there's some good times ahead, but we have to hold the line no matter what happens until this timeline splits. Love each other. Stay in that vibration of love. Stay out of fear as much as possible. Be good to your body. Be good to yourself. Don't overwork your body. Don't stress yourself. If you need to take time and just center and ground and meditate and love yourself, love your neighbor, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.